Nigeria's economic landscape is marked by stark contrasts and realities, with millions struggling to make ends meet while others seek better fortunes abroad. Now, in this conversation, we will examine the survey findings that reveal that the depth of these challenges are exacerbating, including the 20% of Nigerians reporting no income. Now, the one in four are saying that without sufficient emergency funds and immigration aspirations amongst them, they would be seeking a better life elsewhere if they can find it. So to give this a proper perspective, we recently conducted our own survey to find out how many Nigerians are still able to save and how inflation affected their spending. So let's take a listen to this.
I can lock my money today and unlock it tomorrow. So I've not exactly been able to save. Now my savings, they save me.
My savings I even had self is gone. So the money we get barely day-to-day activities, we use it for the day. No way to save anymore. Even though the little money that comes in that you say, okay, let me save this, before you know, you spend it. So there's no more savings anymore.
I try my best to save, which I didn't do last year. But I realized that I spend more than I save.
No. There is no saving because let me just say, the place that you are staying, the expensive of the house is much. Before the house is, let me just say, is 300, like now is 800, a room serve, imagine.
I'm a student, so it has affected how I eat, how I spend, what I buy. Now we are doing 001 on some days. You don't eat in the morning, don't eat in the afternoon, then eat at night. Or you don't eat in the morning, eat in the afternoon, and don't eat at night.
See transport now. Everybody know how the thing be. As they come now, I don't see like a 5 person don't borrow money from my hand. As they come. Myself, I'm a truck driver. I don't carry load, go the place where I dey now. About 5 days, they no offload me. As they go now, I will carry nylon. I make a buy turkey or make a buy meat, go house. So I don't even carry meat, I don't even carry any nylon. So I will manage myself with my family. I will manage myself. As I go out now weekend, I will carry nylon, whether na pepper, turkey, meat. So if I go now for this under bridge, then I go buy round fish with pomo. I go manage myself, which I want.
The cost of living now is very high, and it takes those who are efficient in what they do. It takes most of people that are not doing one or two things. People that are into a lot of businesses. Those are the ones that I can say are barely surviving it now.
Basically, it has affected, but I did some kind of adjustments. The thing with the economy of the country right now, based on affecting people's income, what you just need to do is think of a way to, increase your income, you understand? But basically, it has affected a lot of things based on how I spend, but I think I'm managing it. Yeah, I'm managing it.
All the things that we are brought in like 200 now is 700. More than that, no profits. Even the person that is doing business, no profits on the business. Things are down for now.
Saving is now a luxury. But because if you look at your income and your expenditure, you discover that saving is no more that efficient now. Because let's take for instance, I made like 10,000 a day. Maybe I'll spend close to 30% of the 10,000. Like I spend like 3,000 to and fro from home to office, from office back home. I spend 3,000. Before you calculate the feeding, how are you going to save? Nowadays, I see us just eating from hand to mouth. So there is no leftover. But what you even have is not even enough to cater for the daily need of the family. I usually pray that I don't have a kind of emergency. Because even that emergency fund that you said that you are keeping, you are still going to go and take it and spend it. If that opportunity is a kind of maybe scholarship. Despite the fact that the Nigerian economy is very shaky for now. If I have huge amount of money, let's say I have like 20 million, instead of running away, I may use that money to invest. I'll still invest in Nigeria. Which means that if you are doing something that can be giving you more income, that will be more than your expenditure daily. You won't even think of.
So joining me to talk about this is Carlo Aja, certified financial instructor. Carlo, it's nice to have you around on the show.
How are you doing? Good morning. Thank you.
So I can see you smirking, or maybe it's just me, when you are, we're all watching the responses of Nigerians talking about their finances and how they're not able to save, and the fact that some are saving but then are spending more than they're saving and all that. But then what was running through your mind while watching Nigerians react to this?
Just the way they're managing. Nigerians just managing it. All the costs go up, but we manage. It's just unique that Nigerians seem to find a way to manage and survive under the harsh economic environment. Nobody else will, but we find a way. So that's what's good in my mind.
So in terms of those who have said that, they do not have enough funds to save, and we're in an economic hardship or situation as it is, how do you expect them to channel or drive their day-to-day expenses? Because you are a financial instructor, and if you're going to guide them or teach them what they need to do, probably in a way that they can squeeze out a bit of cash from their earnings to save, what would that advice be to them?
Well, if you look at the situation in Nigeria, inflation is up. And what inflation does is it takes down your purchasing power. Also, your wages have not kept pace over the years with inflation. So it's very, very difficult at this stage to spend, because the bulk of what Nigerians spend on are necessities, food and utilities. So what usually would happen is that you tap into your credit market. You say, my income is not enough, I'm going to borrow in advance of my income and spend. But in Nigeria, we have very, very few sources of credit. So the main thing to do in Nigeria is to say, try to join a cooperative or an isusu, because you need that extra leg, either extra income or increased credit just to get by the tough period. It might not last forever, but you need to have a way to get access to cheap funds without that high interest. That's what your cooperative or your isusu or your second line of business, or you are monetizing assets that you have and are not using, like you have a car, you can give that for Uber, or have a house or rooms and do like a second rent and all that. But that's how you want to look at it. Not to borrow with interest, but try to see if you can combine yourself and take advantage of the opportunities that you have when you come together with other economic units. Yeah.
Okay, so still talking about alternatives, and for those who cannot really do that, now, one of our respondents said he would invest in Nigeria if he has about 20 million naira, but will leave if he sees a sponsor. And some other Nigerians, over the course of time have said that they would leave without looking back if they have the opportunity. But then would you fault the desires of those who wish to emigrate, those who wish to japa, if they do not have those other, economic, or should I say business options for them?
I mean, the best investment you can make right now is skills. If you can learn a skill that you can turn around and monetize, i.e., then charge more for those skills, that's the best way. And that's what Jackbar really is. You want to take the Naira and maybe go abroad and learn a skill that you can then make more income, either income in foreign exchange or higher Naira income. If it's just to leave, 20 million is about 700 Naira. So I'm not sure what 20 million will do for you. It will take you there, it will give you a good start, but if you just want to go there and start from the bottom of the ladder, you might be on a long thing. You want to plan this out and say, if I have this funds, either I do something in Nigeria, or I want to go learn a skill that later will give me access to higher income. That's how I would look at it. If you're younger, it makes more sense. If you're older, even if you have 20 million naira, you might be in a bit of a flux, yeah.
You would even wonder if those who are actually earning maybe below or around 100,000 naira will be able to raise that kind of amount to leave the country. But for those within that spectrum, what implication does it have in terms of living standard, poverty rates, and the possibility, of having to sustain themselves spending the time we begin to see the dividends of these policy adjustments by the government?
It's a big problem. If you look at consumption numbers in Nigeria, it's really negative. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics had published a consumption report since 2022, no consumption happening in Nigeria. No one has the funds to spend outside the necessities of food, utilities, and transportation. That's why you see so many companies with unsold inventory, job losses, because it's a circular economy. So your output is my income, and my income is from the output of someone else. So if I cannot spend, then someone cannot earn, and of course that vicious circle is developing. So that's what's drawing down the economy. There's no spending, there's no consumption by the households and the individuals. Everyone that you just showed on your video is talking about how they used to buy turkey before, now he's going to buy a fish. That turkey seller is going to go out of business, he's going to sack his employees, and of course that vicious cycle just continues. So we've got to boost consumption at that micro level. That's really what needs to happen. That's why we're going back to this credit. If you can't have organic growth, then you got to replace that organic growth with, say, credit, not high interest credit, but can allow folks to spend and get back on their feet here.
Okay, so Carlo, let's now take a look at the relationship between income, expense management. That it's been said that a lot of Nigerians do not really have that expertise in, and financial stress. So how do Nigerians prioritize expenses during economic uncertainty? Because you still see that, well, while people are still complaining about harsh economic problems and all that, we still see people who still party, those who still engage in other frivolous spendings, those who are not able to manage their resources well, those who are not able to scale up their businesses well. And when we talk about financial management, that is very, very important. We're hoping to grow your purse, either personally or when you look at your business. So how do you tie that all together? What information would you like to share?
I think the first thing you want to do is to identify where you are spending. So tracking all your expenses. They needed to categorize and to have a budget. You hear budget all the time, but this is when you have to have a budget. How much are you going to spend on food? So you can see where you are spending money that is not, necessities, right? And you cut that off. Is DSTV a necessity, right? Is your phone necessity? You want to ask those questions and then implement. But most importantly, you have to do very, very basic strategies. Join together, buy in bulk so you can make some savings. Your income is not going to increase. But if you do those simple things of you want to go to the market instead of going yourself, go in, contribute your funds, buy stuff in bulk, and then share the proceeds. Those help. Get a car, go to the village, buy food stuff, bring it back to town, and then share all that. You've got to get innovative to survive in this period. Things are not getting better, so you've got to stretch that naira longer than they should normally have gone to. So I would say track your expenses. Cut out what is not really essential. Focus just on the essentials, right? And then keep your head above water. You don't want to give up. You want to stay there to take advantage of opportunities when they develop. That's what you want to try to do now.
But Carl, in terms of pulling funds for bulk purchase, incomes do not come in. Well, incomes don't come in for people at the same time. There are some people who get paid at some time in the month, some the next month, and those who have businesses will have to wait till when they get their profits and they're able to aggregate their revenues before they do that. And when you also talk about, the cost of transportation, if they have to go to the farm or go to places where they can buy, in bulk, how would they scale those little bit of issues or challenges that might actually derail their purpose when it comes to bulk purchases?
I mean, you've got to find people just like you. That's what you have to use social media. I'm pretty sure if you put something on a Facebook page and say, hey, I want 10 people and we're going to go to Abeokuta to buy plantains and we're going to share it, you get 10 people. So that gives you that advantage that we didn't have, say, 10 years ago. Because you are not going to find, like you said, what your example you just given, you are not going to find everyone the same strata, but you want to use technology to get people together. You don't have to know them, but come together, do an informal exclusive, buy, share, and move on. You want to buy meat, contribute money, buy little cooked goats, and then share the meat. It saves you money than you buying yourself. So you've got to use the power of many, to get what you want to get by this time. You've got to be innovative, If a company is selling goods and they can't sell goods on sold inventory, can you go there and say, listen, I'm going to bring 100 people, we're going to buy, but give us a discount. So use social media, you have friends, and we're all on Twitter, all on Facebook. Get people together, you form an economic unit, then you've got more buying power. then you can then take those decisions, and it will help your budget and your household spending as well.
Okay. So let's now look at the government now. I'd like you to propose some targeted interventions that can help enhance our financial resilience, probably saving rates, economic opportunities also for low-income Nigerians.
It's very simple, just food. I think we had been talking about imports of food for a very, very long time, over a year now. The government had said no, then they eventually said yes. But even the food import that was to bring in hasn't happened. Once you sort out food, you've sorted out inflation. So once Nigerians spend about 60% of their budget on food, which means if you bring down the cost of food, everybody gets to pay a salary increase, everybody. So if the government can forfeit for, say, 90 days in income on food imports, VAT, or excise duties, just like they proposed, forfeit it for 90 days, everybody brings in food. The cost of rice, the cost of cassava, all that drops, meat drops. Then you can see inflation come down, because inflation is driven by food, not really by the printing of money. If the food prices come down, inflation comes down, you have a positive effect in salary increases, in more consumption, and even people just living better. That's the one thing they have to do. It's also a security implication, because you've got the food baskets up north with the bandits and the insecurity. So you can face that medium term, but immediately you've got to allow food come in. Ignore the income. There's no point in the cost of making billions and your people starving. Let food come in, that will crush inflation, that drives the economy to consumption and then to growth.
When you talk about let food come in, are you referring to maybe imports to drive down the cost of price of domestic commodities, or you're talking about investing more in what Nigeria has to improve the production level?
I'm talking of direct imports across the board. We already import food. I'm saying ignore the cost whatsoever. Okay. So the cost of the rice coming in can come in openly, not smuggled. Let it come in, let the prices of food crash. Short term, 90 days. Whilst you're doing this, you're focusing on the issues in the north and the middle belt to take away the insecurity so that the local production of food can go up. That's your medium-term strategy. Long-term is not to clear all those lands, increase the yields. You can't plant cassava today and get it tomorrow. You need time for that. In the interim, you import food and you sacrifice your customs duties from the food so Nigerians can get relief on the price of food.
Okay, so you've talked about food, you've talked about fuel. Some people feel that for Nigerians that have businesses, there's a need for the Nigerian government to also look at the issue around, taxes, probably reduction or removal of excise duties for those who will be importing, and probably, reduce the borrowing costs in terms of the interest rates that has always been hiked by the MPC. Do you also advocate, or will you also advocate for that, looking at the monetary side of things?
Really, if you target food, you reduce MPR. Okay. Because like I said, food is 60% of the household expenditures. Food is 51% of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. That's the CPI is what the MPC looks at to drive the MPR rates. So if food prices go down, then cost of goods in the CPI go down. Then the MPC committee can say, based on this cost going down, we can also reduce interest rates because we don't need to mop up as much money from the system to fight inflation. It's really a food problem. If there was food, you would not have the double-digit inflation that you're seeing right now. The other things you're talking about are all longer term. You can import food tomorrow.
Okay, well, that would mean that, if Nigerians are able to spend less on consumables, they will be able to save more because, of course, a lot of Nigerians will say that they spend over 300 to 400% of their income on purchasing food now compared to a couple of years back. And that would be very important so we can have that as a bit of respite for the country. Another thing that you mentioned is that, if you want to get plantain, you can always go to Abeokuta. So I'll take that from you, Kalu. I believe Nigerians are listening right now. So that's an instructor talking to us right now. Kalu Aja, certified financial instructor. It was nice talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Appreciate you, sir.
All right.